In our society, we live in a world full of hate. So many people have become polarized in so many ways, it is sickening. Hate takes on many forms and it is growing fast. How we let hate come in and rule over our lives speaks volumes for us as individuals and as a group, as a society. Hate is not a universal wrong. While it would be wonderful to live in a world that has no hate, that is one utopia we can't afford to have. Hate is a primal emotion. It is required to survive and thrive into this world. We become hateful when we feel endangered. Most animals have a fight or flight mentality. Both men and women are equally capable of becoming enraged. We have a concept that hate is negative and should be shunned. Why people are hateful must be learned. People are generally good, and so there needs to be a reason why. Anger is often considered to be the same as hate, but there is a difference. Being angry is when you are disgusted with a situation or person. This feeling is generally short-lived. Anger is a temporary event. Hatred is different. Hate is a grudge that you feel. It is a long-lasting and it has roots in each individual's backstory. Think about some of the simple hates you have, such as a food. Maybe you hate zucchini because your mom made you eat it as a child. Events and influences in our backstory cause these hates. Ignorance and misinformation are the main source of hatred. Children are not born racist. They are taught to be racist. Prejudices are taught through biases about the roles of different groups. Every single political, racial, civic, and sexual piece of discrimination is a form of hatred. People tell how we shouldn't trust blacks because of some stupid reason. Strict religious people tell the masses how homosexuality is an abomination. Those that are devout with those religions are taught to hate those that are different from their standards. Political viewpoints have become extreme in current times. Party lines and hot topics create hate by dividing people against each other. How do we combat this hate? Compassion and understanding are the first two keys we need to get past this hate. We need to understand their perception. Understanding a perception does not mean that you agree with it. Finding their perception will tell us why they feel the way they do. This can lead to opening up communication. That is a part of the other two keys that we need to find in resolving hate. Communication and education are very necessary in ridding the world of hate. Blurting facts won't make a difference. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If someone believes that Hispanics are crossing the border and smuggling in drugs, just posting crime statistics for the last 50 years is going to do nothing. An open dialogue with a person where they can also give their opinions and information is needed. This interaction lowers defenses and allows information to be processed. We have to be patient and show understanding to stop hate. No platform is a form of hate as well. It is an extreme view of absolutism. You must agree with me or you will be silent. This is one of those unethical hates that I see coming from both sides of every battle. We may not agree with another person's views. We might even call them hateful. But each person has the right to think for themselves as they wish. It becomes unethical when you broadcast your views but deny all other perspectives. It is believing that you have the right to say whatever you wish, but if anyone says anything opposing, you are offended and have the right to silence them. On social media, the demand of absolute loyalty is tested with every post. People will remove you from groups for using the wrong words. Standards are enforced to fit into any group. Are you faithful enough? They will scan every post to test and police you. You could openly support the LGBT community, but one wrong word or statement could turn that LGBT group against you. This mistrust breeds hate as well. They refuse to use compassion and understanding with different points of view. Most social media types are thin-skinned as well. Any opposing view or view that doesn't fully support a post is viewed as an attack or trolling. Posting a moderate, well-worded viewpoint is an extreme viewpoint post is usually viewed in this manner as well. These extremists are so hateful they view all differing views as attacks and build a cult of personality around them and opposing them as well. These cults fester in hate and distrust. Feminist Anita Sarkeesian is a prime example of this cult of personality and hate. Her one-sided videos incite fellow feminists to hate and mistrust men. This creates the counterculture of men arguing back. Some men use reason and compassion, and others use Anita's level of spite. Anita does no platforming as well, which doesn't allow dialogue and promotes hate. Ethics are important. They are the rules that we use to live by. Ethics are the core of knowing what is right and what is wrong. Each person has their own unique code of ethics. These ethics are built just like our hatred and prejudices. Every decision and action molds our ethics. Our education and civil interactions also shape our ethics. In every religion and culture, there is a set of ethics that are placed on us. One of these universal rules is doing unto others as you'd have done to yourself. We get angry at undefined events and make rash, unethical demands for vengeance. When Colin Kaepernick refused to stand during the national anthem, the outrage was instant and the outrage was unfounded. People demanded that Kaepernick be fired. They claimed that he was being unpatriotic. Yeah, he was being unpatriotic. Doesn't Mr. Kaepernick have the right to protest and have freedom of expression? Well, according to the Constitution, he has the right to protest exactly the way he did. All that hate is from people that refuse to respect the Constitution. And ironically, mandatory patriotism is like what they demand in fascist communist nations, such as North Korea. Their ignorance on other people's rights created a hate that shouldn't have not happened. These people lacked the compassion and understanding needed for the events that occurred. Civil rights protests and counter-protests are growing more and more violent. This hate grows both sides of on both sides. But the violence could be stopped with some understanding and patience. People have the right to assemble and protest if they want. When we act to block, we only incite the hatred more, because they are feeling oppressed. Tempers will flare and hatred will lead to violence. Counter-protesting is an act of hate as well. This action is a physical form of no platforming. The other side is offended that an opposing group is voicing their views. So they form a protesting body in direct opposition. It doesn't matter what the cause is. The counter-protest group is guilty of creating an atmosphere that promotes violence. They could have protested elsewhere or at a different time, but elected to go against another group of people. And just like social media, the verbal barrage of opposing views escalates and creates more rifts and more hate. This escalation is dangerous. In every group, there is a zealot, a radical. This person is overwhelmed by emotion and will do something horrific. As I write this statement, yesterday a young man drove a car into a crowd of people that he was in opposition with. He killed one lady and injured several others. He tried to drive away, but he was apprehended. It was this lack of compassion and understanding that led to him to ignore his ethics and take a life. When the cause is more important than the people, you are dangerous. This is one of the reasons for this statement. We as a society have lost our ability to reason and moderate with others. Hate has been able to grow unchecked in so many areas. Conservatives attack liberals, feminists belittle male aspects of society, the religious seek to silence those that believe differently. So many take the radical approach and close dialogue with anyone that thinks differently. Unethical hate has one more foul twist. People attack others without regard to any limitations. They feel so passionate about the topic that any means to achieve victory is allowed. Actions that you would protest if they were done to you to yourself, you would do without concern. When you forget that you are dealing with another person and just view them as an enemy, you have become an instrument of hate. All things that you have worked for and virtues that you claimed are now worthless. The neo-Nazi white supremacy protests in Charlottesville are something I disagree with. Their ideals are in opposition to what I believe in. But today I found myself defending the individuals attending that protest, not their ideals. Like Mr. Kaepernick, they have the right to protest, even when I disagree with the reason why. And people have the right to disagree with the protest as well. What I saw were memes of protesters asking if you recognize them and if you were their employer. I see this as an unethical, hateful move. If the person was part of a march but committed no acts of violence, why should he be fired? This is a personal attack, and the people that are supporting this action would be upset if somebody did the same thing to them. Yes, they have different views, but people have the right to express their views. They are ignoring their own ethics to attack a person they don't even know. They are lacking the compassion, understanding, and decent morals. Hate has overrun our society. It has blinded and divided people. We go by labels and groupings, seeking to find our space to feel safe and accepted in. Ignorance and fear has turned people against communication and diplomacy. I find it so hard to communicate with others because they can't or won't understand my viewpoint. I give you this statement to inspire you, to encourage compassion, understanding, patience, communication, and education. To stop hate, we must overcome the ignorance that created the hate. We must fill that void with knowledge and kindness. The journey will be long and hard work, but in the end, it will be worth it. So, think about what I said, and everybody, take care. Be at peace.